We've been using shipner.com for the past few years. I've been so happy with the service, I wanted to make this video to show you how to pack up your lights and how to get set up with Shipner so you can save money when shipping your lights to us. And if you want to provide a label, we can use it on the return. In this video today, I'm going to be explaining on how to properly pack your headlights for shipment to your headlight service provider, directly to Lightwerkz. Maybe you're shipping off a set of lights to a friend. We have a lot of incoming shipments from people that ship in their lights from all around the world, and a lot of times they arrive damaged and we have to repair tabs. So we're going to show some big tips, that'll help save you trouble and hassle in dealing with insurance companies. Because most of the time, guess what? They don't pay out, and especially in situations like this, they just blame the way that the package was set up, the items were placed in the packaging, lack of packaging, lack of using the proper cardboard. I'm going to go over some tips that'll help you. So you can see we've repaired these tabs here with some really strong epoxy called JB Weld. They both arrived damaged. I'll show you the box that these were in a second. Whenever you have a chance, you can pad up with a little bit of cardboard right under the tab. So now if there's any pressure down here, it's not going to snap. This prevents it. If you have a tab that kind of sticks out from the side, you can kind of put a sleeve on it, tape it up. This is a pretty small headlight housing. It's from a BMW E46, and a lot of times people think just because it's small, they can get away with using a very tiny box. Now, we know shipping is expensive right now. It's been expensive, it's getting more expensive. That center box is the box that the lights came in. It's actually pretty adequately sized for two BMW E46 headlights. Now, this first box, technically, you can fit in two headlights. I'm gonna grab this headlight, show you how that fits in here. If you're strategic enough, you might even say this fits perfectly. But it's extremely close. You never want any part of the light touching the edges of the cardboard. Now, having a small undersized box is okay in a lot of ways, but as soon as any of these shipping carriers drop this box, you risk cracking a tab or some sort of extension off the light. The good news is the lights aren't kind of floating around here. This is exactly what happened here. There was a major lack of packaging material and everything was so loose. This box actually split open. You can see it's even been taped up. And this is no way to send, a high value shipment. Not to mention it was sent through the post office, which is extremely expensive. I would never recommend using the post office. Try to use FedEx or UPS. And if you have a chance, also check out shipner.com. The guys are great over there. You're going to get great rates. Anyway, back to here. So you can see this box, even for one headlight, even though it's way oversized, I don't recommend it because of the way that the packaging is designed. If it was more of a rectangle, it would be perfect. But because it's a square, you got the corners of the light touching the cardboard. And in theory, it's really not practical. Now, the problem is, even if nothing breaks on the outside of the headlight, the internals of the light are, I should say they're a little bit more fragile. There's adjusters, there's fiberglass buckets, there's plastic parts, and those can crack. So a lot of times what happens, the lights get here and actually there is a little bit of internal damage. Now we have a brand new box we're using for this customer, and you can see one light's already packaged up. We recommend using some bubble wrap. This is not the final process. We're going to show you that later in the video, but it's just to demonstrate what kind of space you should have around the light. And we already are using some bubble mailers. You can use whatever you want as long as there's plenty of space so you can shove some material in here, and that way the light is not moving around when it's in transit. This light doesn't have anything on it. You can see there's a comfortable 1.5 inches on the sides and plenty of space on the top and bottom. So in a little bit, we're going to secure this better and make sure that in transit, nothing breaks. We've been doing this a long time. We ship out multiple sets of lights a week, and guess what? I can't even remember the last time we had to go through an insurance claim, but we've had a lot of lights damage when they are shipped to our location, and there are many reasons why, but ultimately it comes down to improper packaging, whether it's the box size or whether it's too loose or whether the box is too large or too small. It all makes a difference. So the answer is just right. You know, you have to have a box that's just right, and that way it's not going to, you know, shuffle around in shipping, because trust me, they're not gentle with your package. They throw these things off the truck, and you know, you want to use packaging that's not damaged in any way when it's being shipped out. You know, this one, I can't tell if this shipping, you know, the image happened on the way here, but clearly the lights are going to arrive damaged when they're rattling around in this box. So I've got the other light set up here. You saw it a second ago without this bubble wrap. You want a pretty decent, you know, you don't want bubble wrap that's too thin. You want to have a little bit of padding. You can see the whole light is protected now, and that's before we bring it into the box and pad it up on the sides further. The padding up on the sides is literally just to prevent it from shuffling around and having a corner of these lamps touch the edge of the box. And again, when the box makes an impact, when they throw it on the ground or load it up on the truck, that's when damage can occur, whether it's to the outside of the external, you know, casing of the headlight or the inside. Don't just assume because you're bringing the lights to the UPS store that it's going to be packed up properly. They really don't realize that, you know, lights are extremely fragile, and we see people go through it all the time. So in a second, we're going to pad this up. The customer also has a few things that are traveling back, but you can see this box is really, really appropriately sized. There's space all around it. And if you don't have the proper packing materials or you don't have the proper box, do not skimp out, because again, we're dealing with sometimes $1,000, $2,000 headlights, and they're being shipped over, and then there's damages, and ultimately you're not going to be happy when we receive them and we have to send them back to you with repairs, or sometimes there's things that we can't repair, like a chipped lens, which is something that we just dealt with. All right, I've got the light in there, and you can see what I'm using: paper, anything that can really be kind of pushed down really, really well into little grooves and channels that don't have any material. We try not to use packing peanuts anymore, because unless the packing peanuts are really compressed, there's kind of air pockets, the lights move around, and they can still touch each other and move and hit the corners. So quick test is just to kind of shake the box and see. I'm going to pack up the customer's other parts, and we'll show you in a second how this looks. So you can see I've got this box packed all the way to the top. Customer had some corners, so he's got some product boxes that are taking up a little bit of space. Whatever you can use to get that shut nicely is what you want to do. So when I press this down, you can see it's not going past the center point. That's exactly how it should be. All right, so the box is taped together. A quick test after you've put it all together is just to pick it up and literally shake the box. You don't want to feel any movement in that box. Maybe you hear some packaging rattling around or some peanuts moving around, but you don't want that, you don't want to feel like there's weight transfer inside the light, and that's exactly when damage is going to occur, when they're dropping off the lights or throwing it off a truck to load it up. Now on the flip side, these are Depot Land Cruiser headlights. This is directly from the manufacturer. They were probably in a larger box. Don't always trust that manufacturer packaging is adequate. You can see how they have it set up. This is so nothing presses down. But open up the box, check for damages before you send us the lights. Make sure that it's safe to ship. If you were to ship these separately, you can see this is not something I would approve. That's not something I would recommend to send out this way, because there's movement in the top. But we do like to see 2 separate boxes for shipping. It is going to increase the costs. But again, this is a small price to pay to not have to deal with these insurance companies and shipping claims. And sometimes, you just have to deal with however the lights come to us, and it's not always pretty when we have to make repairs. So when possible, try to use 2 boxes. It's definitely well worth it.